Coming up on Cardinals Insider, look back on a meaningful trip to Rickwood Field.
For us to be a part of this and for us to just go out there and enjoy it and play a game here, I think it's very special.
Plus, the Cardinals reflect on the legacy of Willie Mays.
The first thing I think of, obviously, is the Willie Mays catch. I remember I used to practice that catch like in the backyard, just messing around.
And later, see all MLB did to make Rickwood Big League ready. All that and more on our Rickwood Field special, this week on Cardinals Insider. Welcome to Cardinals Insider. I'm Ozzie Smith. Today's episode is all about the Cardinals' trip to Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama. It's one of the oldest ballparks in America and one of the few Negro League parks still standing. More to come on all that history, but let's begin the show with a look back at the event itself.
I just can't imagine the amount of courage that these guys had. And history is something that we should celebrate. For us to be a part of this and for us to just go out there and enjoy it and play a game here, I think it's very special for Major League Baseball. I think it's very special for this state as well.
Like you said, being on the same field as so many historic people and so many legends, pretty special. I mean, I grew up learning about all these guys, and just to be able to say I played on the same field as them is, just super, super important.
Yeah, I got emotional just standing there knowing where you're standing and the tribute to Willie Mays, and just like, man, the impact he had on people that he met, but also people that he never met, and that's when you know you've done it right.
Very special night for us, for the Giants, for the Cardinals, for all of Major League Baseball.
He's from Enterprise, Alabama.
That's deep to right field, and that's long gone out of here.
He came into the dugout and said, "Welcome home," which was pretty cool. Tapping into the history of our game in a different way.
That's a Redbird winner. The Cardinals win the game at Rickwood in Birmingham and beat San Francisco 6-5.
Just being an inspiration, not only to kids around St. Louis, but just, all over the world trying to get some more color in baseball. I think it'd be good for the game. They don't know how fun baseball can be and how truly impactful that we can be on the field.
Willie Mays is one of the greatest players of all time and an important figure in furthering the work Jackie Robinson began by integrating baseball. Mays was born in Alabama and began his pro career with the Negro Leagues Birmingham Black Barons in 1948, just one season after Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. He found himself across town from Jackie in 1951 when he jumped to the majors with the New York Giants. Here's what this year's Cardinals have to say about the Say Hey Kid.
One of the greatest players to ever live and play this game.
He's the five-tool player, you know what I'm saying? He does everything right. He did everything right. He was very exciting to watch.
Just the courage, right? The ability to break those barriers is truly amazing. To do it at Rickwood Field, I've actually, from Alabama, so we know all about Rickwood Field, and it's truly special we get to play there.
The first thing I think of, obviously, is the Willie Mays catch. I remember I used to practice that catch like in the backyard, just messing around. Just one of the legendary players, and it's really cool to be able to honor him.
I've been fortunate to meet him before, and an incredible player, a legend, and I can't wait to go play there. It'd be really fun.
He was just big for the game, big for the community, and also big for our race, so I really appreciate it.
There are a lot of legends in the game, right? And whether it's Jackie Robinson or Willie Mays, Bob Gibson, you think back to people of color, Latino and African Americans that broke into our sport and really changed the landscape of our sport forever for the better. Those legends will, they'll always be remembered because people really understand how they impacted our game on and off the field, and Willie's one of those.
Well, obviously one of the biggest names in history. You hear a name like that, you think of guys like Hank Aaron, Ozzie Smith, all those black legends, Jackie Robinson. So super excited to be a part of it and to be a part of that history.
Straight ahead on Cardinals Insider, Get a tour of the remodeled Rickwood Field. That's when we return. Rickwood Field opened in 1910. It's hosted many teams and great players since then. Major League Baseball refurbished the building and added appropriate infrastructure before this year's big league game. Let's take a look at the facility.
Rickwood Field is not only home to some of baseball's greatest players, it's a home that changed the game of baseball for black players everywhere. It's the oldest professional ballpark in the United States, and it truly feels like you're stepping back in time. Let's take a closer look. Rickwood Field was built in 1910 and served as the main home ballpark for the Birmingham Barons and the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro Leagues. During this time, Jim Crow laws kept black citizens separate and unequal. That included playing professional baseball. Because of this, leaders formed the Negro Leagues. Rick Woodward, who Rickwood Field was named after, let the Black Barons rent the field while the Barons were on the road. This generated more fan traffic, and soon after, a section in right field was named a segregated section. Fans were able to enjoy the country's greatest white and black ball players, just never at the same time. Built of steel and concrete, the stadium was built to last. The stadium holds just over 10,000 fans, and the original dimensions of Rickwood Field are still standing to this day. The concrete outfield wall sits behind the newly renovated wall and reads 478 feet in left center field. The original outfield wall was used from 1910 to 1937. Players like Willie Mays, Jackie Robinson, Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson, Babe Ruth, Cool Papa Bell, and over 180 Hall of Famers either made their start or once played at Rickwood Field. MLB recently hosted a tribute to the Negro Leagues at Rickwood between the Cardinals and the Giants, bringing appreciation to Rickwood Field and the city of Birmingham. It truly is a special event because it's the first Major League game played at a Negro League stadium, and it's certainly not the last. In Birmingham at Rickwood Field, I'm Emily Stevens.
And coming up, Negro Leagues Museum President Bob Kendrick on the history of Rickwood Field.
Rickwood, for those who don't know, is the oldest active professional baseball park in the country. So it is older than Fenway and Wrigley.
The Ted Savage Cardinals Care Classic is coming to Whitmore Country Club on Thursday, July 25th. Enjoy a round of golf and mingle with Cardinals alumni including Scott Rowland, Jose Oquendo, and Ray Langford, all while raising funds for the Cardinals Nike RBI Youth Baseball and Softball program. Registration includes golf with a Cardinals celebrity, on-course activations, pre- and post-golf refreshments, golf swag, and more. To register for the Ted Savage Cardinals Care Classic or to learn more, visit cardinals.com/golf.
Negro Leagues President Bob Kendrick is an expert on black baseball history, so we turn to him for context on Rickwood Field and what it means to the game at large.
Well, I'll never forget the first time that I walked onto the field at Rickwood. No, I take that back. I walked on the property at Rickwood. It gave me chills. So this is before I actually get out on the field. And as a steward of the story, it only makes sense because there aren't very many ballparks left that really call the Negro Leagues home. Rickwood is one of those, along with Hincliffe Stadium in Paterson, New Jersey, League Park in Cleveland, and Hamtramck in Detroit. So there are not many of these venues still left, and each time that I've been to one of them, I get that same feeling. Well, Rickwood, for those who don't know, is the oldest active professional baseball park in the country. So it is older than Fenway and Wrigley. And so much history has been made at that ballpark. And none of that history is greater than the history that has been made by the old Birmingham Black Barons who call Rickwood Field home for so many years, and the legendary Negro League stars who came in to compete against the Barons and the litany of great players that the Barons had themselves. And so that place is really, really special. And so when you walk there on the property and especially on the field, you feel the ghost of those legendary stars, their spirits. You feel that. when you walk into that place. And so it is going to be very special. I'm sure somewhat emotional, because it will be I believe, a seminal moment for Negro Leagues history. The nation, and really the baseball world, will be focused on this game, and will be some introduced to the history of the Negro Leagues. Others, I think this will enhance their understanding of the Negro Leagues, but this will be a major happening there in Birmingham.
It's time for this week's trivia question. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once lived across the street from which former Cardinal player? Was it Bob Gibson, Bill Greason, Tom Alston, or Curt Flood? The answer when we return. We're back with the answer to this week's trivia question on the connection between MLK and the Cardinals.
Time to reveal the answer to this week's trivia question. As always, it is brought to you by the Palm Beaches, Florida's most stylish vacation destination. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once lived across the street from which former Cardinals player? The answer is Bill Greason. Our trivia question, that amazing fact about Bill Greason, the first ever black Cardinals pitcher, but his claim to fame and his importance in Cardinal baseball, so much more than that. Mark Emmert, Cardinals Publications, Cardinals Magazine. You went and saw Reverend Greason at his church here in Birmingham. What was that experience like?
It was really amazing. I thought people know that he's been a minister here for 53 years now. He felt the calling, he said, to God when he was at Iwo Jima, serving in World War II, and he said, if you spare my life here, I'll owe you one, basically. And he said he got into a near accident years later and decided that was the moment he needed to become a minister. And he's been a pastor at Bethel Baptist Church here for 53 years, still preaching at age 99. I actually went to his church service. He gave a very, very spirited sermon, 23 minutes long. The crowd was loving it. His congregation just adores him. That was the one thing that's very obvious, is like they all lined up. They all wanted to tell me how much impact he had on their lives still. And I think, to me, the biggest takeaway was that's really what his calling has been. Like, he was a baseball player, he was a soldier, but the minister part of it is really, really the most important part to him, and that's all he wants to talk about, is service to God.
He was drafted and then ended up helping to integrate the Marines. You spoke about Iwo Jima. Yeah. He mentored Bob Gibson at AAA Rochester back in the day. Yep. He was a teammate of Willie Mays with the Black Barons, but he doesn't really want to talk about all that, is what your story says. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, he's a very humble guy. He said his mother always raised him to be humble. She said that was the way to kind of raise yourself up, was to be humble, and he took that to heart. And obviously he came up in baseball in a time when it was very difficult for a black man to succeed. He was not given a lot of chances, but he said he was used to that, he expected that, and he realized that his talent was God-given, and if anybody saw him play, that was enough for him.
Yeah, I mean, he also pastored at the 16th Street Baptist Church here in Birmingham. Unfortunately, children lost their lives when the KKK bombed that building. So, I mean, just all the different threads of his life weaving through civil rights. Really, it's remarkable, and neat to see him honored here tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. It gave me chills, honestly, when they brought him out, because like, it was just, you could just tell how much it meant to him, the emotion in his face, and throwing out the first pitch, with Derek Jeter and Reggie Jackson there. I mean, it's just a really, really great moment for him, but I think also for baseball and for all of us to witness. Yeah.
Well, Mark, thank you very much. If folks want to check out that story, and it is well worth a read, it's in issue #1 of Cardinals Magazine from this year. Just visit cardinals.com/publications. You see it there on the screen, and you can get a copy of that and become a subscriber if you want to go inside with the St. Louis Cardinals. Of course, you can do Cardinals Insider, but also you would be remiss if you didn't check out Cardinals Magazine as well. Mark, thank you.
Thank you so much, Brett.
When we return, it's an extended Ask Ozzie. That's right after the break, so stay with us. It's time for an extended Ask Ozzie. So Brett McMillan joins me. Hi, Brett.
We thought it would be good just to talk through this a little bit. What a neat event that MLB is doing. Just your first impressions when you heard that they were going to set this aside a time to honor the Negro Leagues.
Well, I think that it shows their commitment to a group of people who have contributed so much to the game of baseball. And I think that it's one of those things that I surely am enjoying. I've had the opportunity to visit the Hall of Fame, who has an exhibit now of the Negro Leagues, and had an East-West All-Star game that I was able to take part in. And it's great learning about the history of the game and the part the black players played in the expansion of Major League Baseball.
Willie Mays is a central figure in the event, as we saw. Clearly played for the Giants, also played there in Birmingham. What is Willie like one-on-one? You've had interactions with him.
Well, he's first of all, he's got a very high-pitched voice, you know, much different than what he looks like. And you know, one of the stories with Willie is that I was having a conversation with him one day, and he says, you know, where are my glasses? I lost my glasses. I said, Willie, the glasses are on your head. He always wears his cap, so his glasses are on his head and stuff. So he's a great conversationalist. You know, here again, for most of us, when you're around the game of baseball or you're talking baseball, they're in their element. And so it's always fun when you're around the guys and we have a chance to talk about what it was like when they played as opposed to what's going on today.
As we've watched this event unfold, I can't help but thinking about Bob Gibson and Lou Brock. Neither one of them played in the Negro Leagues, but they were right in that era where civil rights was going on. They played in St. Louis, which is a wonderful city, but has some hard things in its past that the city's had to work through. Tell me about those men and what they've meant to you and to the culture here in your mind.
Well, I think for most people don't realize that even when they travel with the team, there were some things that had to be done. They couldn't stay in the same hotels, you know, and I hear one of the stories in spring training was that Mr. Bush had to buy a hotel so that all of the guys would have a chance to stay with the team, you know, and when you think about it, wasn't that far off. And so stories like that are interesting in that we see what they had to deal with. You know, it was more than just playing baseball.
When you went to Dodger Stadium as a kid, you would sit in the stands and look out and see black players. What did that mean to you growing up, to see players on the field that looked like you, came from a background and culture that you came from?
Well, it meant that I would have an opportunity to do something that I love doing. And certainly at that time, the percentage of black ball players was a lot higher than it is today. And I think that we're all trying to find ways to get more black kids interested in playing the game. And hopefully that will happen here in the near future. I know we have an RBI program, but I think it's going to take a lot more than programs like that. And, you know, one of the answers may be HBCUs, you know, where you have kids who are interested in the game, but unfortunately, most of the kids that may be good ball players or may be good big league ball players don't have father figures around. That's where coaches and relatives of the family become very, very important. So hopefully those numbers will get back to where they were when we were playing or when I was growing up, and I'm looking forward to that day. Thanks, Brett. If you want to submit a question, head on over to cardinals.com/insider and click the Ask Ozzie tab. But for now, don't go anywhere. There's more Cardinals Insider after the break. We're wrapping up today's show with a look at some of the black men who have worn the Cardinals uniform. They're figures who've helped make the franchise what it is, upholding and advancing the Redbirds' winning ways.
I think a good team has a good spirit. I think you have to have the talent, though, in order to have a good ball team.
Juicy one to Kurt Flood, and he hits a slam-bang triple.
Bill White of the St. Louis Cardinals shows why he made the National League All-Star team.
Now it's Mantle at the plate, and Gibson blows one past him. A strike out the side, and the St. Louis fans love it.
He is going. The pitch is a strike. The throw. He is there. He did it. 105 for Lou Brock. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run by the Wizard.
Well hit. Way back. Listen to the reaction. Oh, boy. What a catch he made, Willie McGee.
I was drafted by the Cardinals and basically spent my whole career as a Cardinal.
I understand just how lucky I am to wear that Cardinal jersey and play in front of the best fans in the world.
Double steal. So there's number 73, the record, and 74, all in the same movement. Just tremendous instincts by the Cardinal rookie Vince Coleman.
Brian Jordan drives one to left field. This one is out of here. With one, McGee not running, and there it is. Pop away.
Womack into deep right field. Sosa looking up. Goodbye.
In the air, left field. And Reggie Sanders strikes early in game one.
And Belliard gets underneath this one. Home run for Belliard.
Breaking ball, hammered down the line. A J-bomb. Jordan Walker's first big league homer.
And a curtain call.
Swing and a shot. That ball is up and gone. Home run for Masyn Winn. A line drive over the boards and left.
Young Masyn Winn stays back and drives that 375-foot shot.
That's it for this episode. You can always catch us online at cardinals.com/insider or watch full episodes on YouTube. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you right back here next week.